Good morning. Welcome to another episode of the TMI Show. The T of the show, Ted Rall, was here and we just lost him. I don't know what happened. So that's producer Robbie just taking space. He's just going to take up the box until Ted figures out whatever the hell happened to his connection. I'm Manila Chan. This is the TMI Show, the Ted Manila Information Show. There's the Bing. There's Ted.
So does this mean I'm trans Ted?
You are trans Ted.
I identify as Ted.
For just a moment.
We have a tremendous affection for a certain gray cat.
Yeah. It was Clovis.
You suddenly find yourself collecting political buttons for no reason.
Well, did Clovis pick you off the stream? Is that
I don't know. It's very strange. It was like suddenly I was just frozen.
Oh, so, yeah. Okay. Well, you're back, Robbie. You're there as backup in case Ted.
I'm here.
Decides to fall off the stream.
My younger, suaver self.
You're bizarre. It's Bizarro Ted. Robbie
is Bizarro Ted. It is true because Bizarro has to have like some features that you have in common, and as you know, Robbie and I have some weird features in common.
So there's some political overlap, but otherwise Bizarro Ted. So anyway, yes, you guys are tuned in to the Ted Manila Information Show. So the Ted is back. Of course, we're live Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So please be sure to hit the like button or the follow button wherever you're consuming this content. And if you are in the position to do so, please join us on Rumble Premium by hitting that red Rumble Premium button right below our talking heads so you can become a member to Rumble so you can watch all of the exclusive Rumble only content that only premium members are allowed to see. And you get no commercials. So just saying. Like, I know I don't like commercials. I've gotten habituated to that, Ted, but we'll be talking about mainstream media, about why some of it's failing. And we'll talk about all of that a little bit later in the show. But that's one of the topics. We've got that topic. We've got like I guess it's becoming a war zone back home in Los Angeles. Active duty troops, Marines are headed there. They're probably driving up from Camp Pendleton, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right.
Oh, yeah. Good guess. I mean, it makes sense. They're an hour and a half south in San Diego. They'll be there now.
Yeah, what could possibly go wrong?
What could go wrong, Ted? Also, if things do go wrong, we'll be talking about war bunkers, specifically those in a certain former war-torn nation in Europe that kind of, caused the war.
I was going to say, I'm glad you said that. Yes.
So
war-torn, yes, but
that's true.
War causing even more.
More so. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to tell you why I think Iran has finally gone too far. That's it. That's it, Ted.
I think now you're going to call for sanctions, probably.
I'm going to call for sanctions because of this. And I think Robbie is with me on this one. I'll tell you guys what that is at the end of the program, why I am really pissed off at Iran. By the way,
speaking of sanctions, just a quick insertion. The breaking news, the United Kingdom is sanctioning two Israeli members of the Israeli cabinet.
The Knesset?
Of Benjamin Netanyahu's cabinet. Ben Gvir and Bezalel Smotrich over their repeated incitements of violence against Palestinian communities. So it's personal sanctions.
Just those two.
They're freezing their assets and they're imposing travel bans. So those two guys can no longer go to London and get crumpets.
What a shame.
I mean, you know how people just get this craving for English food sometimes. Said no one ever. But
yes, I often dream about wieners and beans.
Yeah, that's like one of the least bad.
What do they call it? What do they call sausages there?
Oh, yeah. Isn't that like spotted dick or something like that?
I don't know. It's not that.
They have something called spotted dick.
But their breakfast,
if you take enough antibiotics and you stay away from prostitutes, you should be able to avoid that.
My God. No, I remember they served me breakfast once. I don't remember where I was, maybe a pub or something for breakfast because pubs open at like 8 a.m. over there.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And it was sausages and like really runny baked beans. And so whatever it was, I don't know, whatever they called it.
And that's not one of the worst things they have, right? Like they have these horrible sandwiches with like mystery like sandwich meats and like flaccid dead cucumbers that haven't really been an organic life form for
like
decades.
room temperature.
Oh yeah,
pickle.
Like Wonder Bread. Yeah,
like very very weird. And then there's room temperature beer that they're like, would you like a beer with your breakfast?
Yeah, no, I mean they do brew it for that, but like why? And like I mean it's like this is why England became a mega colonial power. They had to invade other countries that had good food
to get their food. Well, that's true. They went and stole spices. Well, traded.
Right.
They traded for spices. So that's
hey, want to trade? So, sure.
Take all the paprika you want.
As much as you need. Yeah.
Take as much tea. We know you love tea. Take the tea. Just don't shoot.
No Darjeeling, no problems. Yeah.
Darjeeling. All right. So as you can see, this show goes off the rails sometimes.
Yeah, mostly my fault.
We have some fun stuff to talk about. So let's hop to it. Make sure you hit the like button. Let's roll.
The Pentagon is sending 700 U.S. Marines, as you mentioned earlier, and another 2,000 National Guard troops. There's been some conflation here and mixed reports. Some reports, according to Governor Newsom of California, it's actually 2,700 Marines total, or 2,000 Marines. There's all sorts of reports. Point is, hundreds and hundreds of U.S. Marines are coming from Camp Pendleton up to Los Angeles. Tensions between, of course, the feds and California are escalating over the fact that California is like, no, we're good. We got this. The LAPD is fine. You're only going to make things worse. and Trump is determined to make a big swinging dick aspect, deal out of all this.
That's pretty much it.
Anyway, this is at the same time that Newsom filed suit over Trump's decision to send that first batch of 2,000 National Guardsmen to LA over the weekend. Trump then threatened to arrest the governor of California and the mayor of Los Angeles, Karen Bass, if they get in the way of the National Guard. The Marines and the National Guardsmen have been ordered to protect federal property. This has kind of got echoes of how they handled things during the BLM protests in 2020 in places like Minneapolis, and personnel in the nation's second largest city. Article 10 authority was deployed by Trump to bypass Newsom and federalize the National Guard. Last time this happened was LBJ did it in 1965 to protest to protect civil rights marchers in Selma, Alabama. This is a provocation, not just an escalation, Newsom said in an interview with the LA Times. This is intended to sow more fear, more anger, and to further divide. The Pentagon didn't say why it needed more National Guardsmen. The state has also sued.
Just because, Ted.
Yeah, more is more.
Because you can.
More is more. The Democrats also expressed alarm about the arrival of heavily armed U.S. Marines with semi-automatic and automatic weapons. And American combat troops are normally not supposed to be used inside the United States, except in some very rare instances. Anyway, so even as this happened, the situation in LA had already actually calmed down, as I predicted yesterday would happen because of the beginning.
Because everybody goes back to work.
Yeah, people got to work. It's still simmering a little bit, Newsom told reporters, but not very much. That's accurate. The cops and a few protesters did mix it up a little bit in Little Tokyo, where the LAPD arrested some people, used tear gas, but generally speaking, there were fewer clashes between them. The National Guard has sort of stayed out of things, ironically, considering all the controversy. For most of the year, ICE officers have snagged easy-to-find migrants, people with criminal records, court petitions, asylum requests. They basically just wait at the courthouse and nail them when they show up for their hearings.
Well, and this is what this was the whole crux of the thing that sparked off in Los Angeles, was because I guess they got bored. ICE got bored of doing court stalking and whatever, job stalking. So they decided to just go to Home Depot and just do random sweeps. Yeah. Just all sweeps. Doesn't matter what color you are. If you're out front of Home Depot looking for day work,
it matters what color you are.
Well, yeah. Yes, but there's a disproportionate number that are outside Home Depot.
I'm just saying, if you're chilling, if I'm at Home Depot picking up some nails, I have a feeling that probably I can scooch in and out right past the ICE guys. Probably nothing much will happen. Yeah.
If you were hanging, well, here's the thing. At least here in Northern Virginia in the DC Metro, the color of the people that are outside of Home Depot are kind of a mishmash. There's brownish people. There's blackish people. There's ambiguous colored Asian-ish, yellow-toned-ish people. Mm-hmm. And some, I would assume, could be white people, but it can also be those damn white pass Latinos. Mm-hmm. That are hanging out in the front.
Hey, Manila, I'm being told on YouTube by one of the chatters that my volume is really low. It sounds like I'm whispering. Is that true?
It sounds pretty normal to me in my ear. Robbie, thumbs up or thumbs down?
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thumbs up? Yeah. It sounds okay for us.
All right. MR.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So I don't know. So Ted, I think. Obviously,
someone else is saying no. Okay, all right, never mind.
Yeah. So more often than not, in front of Home Depot, you'll find more Latino day laborers than other races. But the whole point of this is that in Los Angeles, they just went and scooped up everybody in front of the Home Depot. So you could have just been you could have been about to go inside to shop, and chances are you're Latino if you're in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
I mean, let's face it.
I think it's an over 50% Latino city.
Yeah,
I read that recently.
Of course.
53% or something.
You could be just outside finishing your coffee, having a cigarette before you go inside.
As I like to say, like when people are like, when Whitey there is like, oh, tell those people to go home. Actually, you're in their home. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
California,
like they can tell you to go home.
California was, let's remind the viewers and the listeners that California was Mexican before it became American.
Well, I guess it was Spanish, right? Technically, but
well,
yeah.
Yes, but the inhabitants were Mexican. So technically under colonial rule of the Spaniards, yes. But ethnically, the people that were on that land were Mexican. So there are multi-generational Mexican American families that are there. Sometimes those people are day laborers.
Sure.
And so
absolutely.
The whole process,
white people be day laboring, sure.
Yeah, so the whole procedural issue is the thing that Angelenos have a problem with. And I got to tell you,
mention if you're just like whatever hanging out, like let's say on the bus in LA. I mean, most of the Latinos you see there are legal, they're citizens. They were born here. Most people.
Yeah, they're just brown
they're
people.
from there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're born and raised in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
There are people, they don't all sound like me, but I have friends that are Mexican American, born and raised in the same city as me in Whittier, California, who speak with a very distinct East LA accent. Yeah. Kind of like the Cheech and Chong, that they would,
it's actually very charming. Or the Chico and the Man thing. Yeah.
It's a very Mexican Los Angeles accent.
Mm-hmm.
But no, they're not illegals. They're not immigrants. They're not migrants. They're born and raised in Los Angeles. So the whole crux of this problem that people in the Angelenos have is that it's not, and I'll be honest, Ted, a lot of Latinos in Los Angeles and primarily Mexicans, because they're multi-generational, they are American through and through and through, right? They actually lean a little more towards the, hey, let's tamp down on the illegal immigrant issue, but be humane. They actually do care about closing the borders. They don't want open borders, but they want people to be treated humanely, especially the ones that are already here. And the obviously the brand for the Trump administration and ICE under Tom Homan, the brand is not known for being very nice, Ted.
No, not at all. Oh my God. I mean, literally central casting for like neo-Nazis. Just the look. Steve Miller.
I mean, Tom Homan is actually
he's a monster.
Floating. He's the one that's floating the idea of arresting the governor. Now, I have a lot of qualms with Gavin Newsom, but to set that sort of precedent would be catastrophic, I think, in American politics. Arrest a California governor, sure, for like really, embezzlement or fraud.
Do you think he should be arrested for what he did to me? I kind of think he should be.
Oh, well, for that's like I said, I'm not against arresting a sitting governor. That's not the problem. But
it's happened before.
Not for this. I mean, because he's speaking out. Speaking out against this cruel and unusual procedure of just picking people up off the street. Mm-hmm. You're kidnapping people off the street. I think he's right on that. And I think, again, I have a lot of complaints about Gavin Newsom and the degradation of my home state, and the majority of my family still lives there, and they suffer all of that.
I know producer Robbie is against what I'm about to say, but here's what I think. I mean, I do think that Biden's immigration policy was insane. Sure. That said, okay, but the point is, the people who came in and took advantage of it, I will say completely legally, because they followed the rules, so it's legal by definition. They should not be punished. I mean, I do think you just shut the border and you control it going forward. Look, this border, the U.S. border has kind of, you could objectively say, never really been controlled. I mean, the colonists came here, they didn't check with the Native Americans. There's been all sorts of migrant flows constantly. The Germans, the Italians, the Irish, they all came here in the 19th century. They didn't have visas to come to Ellis Island. They just showed up. And it's like, and we're all descended from them, right? So or well, many of us, like I am,
You
descended
whiteys
from them.
are.
Whiteys are not. I mean, not me specifically. My point of entry was different. But the point is that like that's how most of the country got here, and so like basically it's a nation formed by illegal immigration. Fact. But like now but it's not too late to just sort of say, okay, now we're a nation state. We're gonna close our borders and control who comes in and who doesn't. That's it. It's not really that complicated. We don't have to have this brutalist approach to scooping up people and separating families. Right. And by the way, it seems like separating families is part of the policy. In many cases, they literally know that the entire family is undocumented, but they deliberately split up the husbands from the wives, and they leave usually the wife here, and they deport the guy. I mean, and when the wife is like, please deport me and our kids with our father, with our husband. And like, they don't want to do that. So the cruelty is really baked into the system.
Yeah. And it's especially true under Tom Homan. And I, as you guys know, I was at CPAC and Tom Homan was one of the speakers, and he was towards the very end. I think he was second to last before Donald Trump came out. And Tom Homan, when he took the stage, I guess some, at least to the MAGA crowd or the CPAC neocon crowd, they view him as kind of folksy in a way because of his manner of speak. And he was dropping F-bombs. He was saying bad words left and right. And I was going, is this really the right audience that he just didn't care. I mean, I get it. Like, given his was he military? No, he was some sort of law enforcement. I forget what, but he really is truly one of these law enforcement type guys. And he spoke that way. And I was shocked the first F-bomb he dropped, but the audience loved it. Loved it. This CPAC was very different than other CPAC years that I'd gone to, in that it was the formality had all been gone. Trump had just won.
He was cop very briefly in upstate New York for like a hot second, like a year, and
Weird.
In 1983, and then he joined ICE. Or at the time it was called INS.
So he's been with this type of organization for a long time. So he talks, but he talks that way, right? He speaks that language, and it went over really well with the crowd. And that to me told me very early on, the temperature in that room, I think I could glean that the rest of the 4 years was going to look like that. And sure enough, here we are. Tom Homan and, linking arms with Stephen Miller and just doing the grossest things to people that don't look like them.
All right. Well, we'll follow this story. Let's move on to our main subject here. Warner Brothers Discovery is breaking up into 2 publicly traded companies by next year. So what they're going to do is they're going to separate their film and streaming operations from their global cable TV networks. So the new company is going to be called Studios and Streaming. I don't know if it's going to be, I guess it'll be Warner Brothers Studios and Streaming. Yes, the SS. No problems with that.
Warner SS.
Warner. Including
Warner
HBO.
SS.
So that'll be HBO, HBO Max, Warner Brothers TV, and DC Studios. And that's going to be under the control of CEO David Zaslav. The Global Networks unit, which will be the other spinoff, is going to be CNN, TNT Sports, and Discovery. And that will be it's the CFO Gunnar Wiedenfels will be stuck with that. So basically, the move follows a corporate reorganization late last year that split the company into 2 internal divisions. So basically, that was the predecessor. Now those 2 divisions will be actual independent companies. The executives they argue that the split will allow the streamers to respond more quickly to the market trends, while the networks group focuses on managing its legacy stuff. Streaming is now 44% of TV usage in the US. cable is less than 25%. Broadcast is 21%. Most of the debt will go with global networks. That's the non-streamers. That's the legacy stuff, which will have a 20% stake in the streaming business with plans to monetize that in the future to help reduce its debt. As of March, Warner had about $34 billion in debt, much of it tied to the merger between WarnerMedia-Discovery, so Warner Media and Discovery. So basically, like many mergers and acquisitions, they borrowed a lot of money to do this. They probably actually couldn't afford to do this. And now what they're doing is they're sticking the debt from the merger to the more beleaguered of the two entities that are going to be successor entities. Manila, I've seen this particular corporate script before. You have too. Yeah. And basically, it's a death sentence for the legacy part of of Warner. They're basically, it's like
which
a fuck
one do you think they're killing?
They're killing the legacy side. They're basically
the CNN side.
Yeah. So what's going to happen is the CNN side is going to have all this debt, and they're never going to be able to pay because, after all, think about it. They're saddling all the debt to the side that is making the least money. Well, what do you think is going to happen here? Obviously, that side's going to go bankrupt. This is their sneaky way of basically going bankrupt without going bankrupt. It'll be right. It'll be like they'll wipe that debt away, and the CEOs and their compadres will be able to walk away with a big paycheck as usual. It's very sleazy. It's sadly very common. I feel sorry for the people who are working at companies like CNN and so on, because they're not doing anything wrong. It's not their fault that the market has evolved in this way. And if they were decent about it, they would have the expanding part of the operation subsidize the contracting part of the operation. But that's not what they're doing. So basically, it's like, sucks to be you.
Right.
So you with that side will go bankrupt within a few years.
So I find it strange that they are. I mean, to Ted's point, he's 100% right. I remember a million years ago, Ted, in the early 2000s, when regular radio was still a thing. I worked for Clear Channel Radio, and
so did I. KFI was a Clear Channel station.
So a million years ago in Los Angeles, that's where I got my media career start, and then there began the rumors that Bain Capital was coming in, right?
Mitt Romney.
Mitt
Romney style. Wah, wah.
Bain. So he's coming in, and we're like, oh, well, that's not good if Bain Capital's coming in, because what's going to happen is like slit everywhere. Cut. But anyway, so Bain comes in, and at the time we were developing what is now, I mean, it was just a little app, this new thing called an app, right? And like, this is like 2006, 2007. We were developing this new thing called an app called iHeartRadio. So I was there for the dev of this, right? And it was like this streaming. What's streaming? So anyway, fast forward a couple of years. I'm already gone from there. I'm in the Middle East doing my reporting thing. Bain comes in, cut all kinds of stuff. I mean, from what I understood, there was mass layoffs at the Burbank headquarters of Clear Channel. Hundreds of people. I mean, we had the whole building, and we were next to Warner Music, actually. And some of the other Warner properties were next door. Across the street was Carson Daly's whatever show he was hosting at that time, the nighttime, whatever it was. So it was a whole like media thing. Warner Brothers, the lot was right next door. So it's like this whole media area, and it was just the talk of the town because it was a bloodbath, Ted. Hundreds of people that I worked with were just instantly just pink slipped. Goodbye. With no warning from every department. Now, they split off. What Bain did was split off some of the Clear Channel properties. And just like this, they owned many, many, many brands, right? Just like this. And they split off. They split off the iHeart new, the new media which in 2008 was new media, was streaming, right? That has become successful, and has basically kept their media operations alive. But what happened to Clear Channel billboards, Ted? What happened to Clear Channel, the other comms stuff that they did, their engineering? All of it's dead. It's just all gone. So that's what's going to happen here. And I don't know, Ted, do you foresee CNN actually dying though? I mean, like for me, I love Discovery.
No, it's not what I think will happen.
Look, I love Discovery Channel. Let me just say, I love Discovery, and they have the 90 Day Fiancé franchise, which I'm obsessed with. That's pretty much the only TV watching that I do. But everything else, CNN, all these other brands that they have that they're going to split off. I mean, Ted Turner's still alive. I'm surprised he hasn't commented on this, because CNN is struggling in the ratings, especially since they've pulled back from having all these CNN sponsored literal, like the plasma TVs that you see at the airport that were always streaming, like CNN International. CNN paid for the placement of those. I don't know if people understand this. They actually paid for that. Or when you're pumping gas at the gas station and the little screen while you're at the pump, CNN paid for all that.
Which, if ICE would go after that, I could get on Team ICE. I hate those things. I mean, I'm pumping gas. It's not really my moment of zen, but I mean, it's like really, truly, I don't want to be assaulted when I just get out of my car. I pump in my 87. I'm like, enough. Like, just, I don't want to see ads. I just don't. It's like, do you remember there was a period, I don't know if anyone's still doing this, when there was a push to put ads on the ground, right? Like at airports, there were the giant stickers on the ground that were ads. And then also there was a period where at the beach, there were machines that moved the sand into the shape of an ad. And it was just like, fuck off, like, enough. There's already at the beach, at many beaches, there's planes with the ads. Those are kind of funny.
That was their innovation. So you can thank them that now everybody else does it. And we got to give a shout out to our regular viewer, Well-Dressed Nerd, for the $5 donation. And he says that you're making a trash argument because Bakari, the Bakari sellers argument, I guess Bakari's on CNN, or is he on MSNBC? I don't know.
I don't know what the Bakari sellers argument is.
He says it's trash. Put it in a box. Get it out of here. Basically, bury CNN.
No, I mean, so to answer your question, so basically, look, you and I are both out of legacy media. Look at newspapers, right? Obviously, they are and have been in deep trouble, and their outlook is bad. But there's still some money to be made. So some newspapers will remain in business until, as long as there's money to be made. There's some money to be made in CNN. It's just that it's going to be less and less and less over time. It's worth less and less over time. But basically, it'll be spun off to an individual. Now, one of two things will happen. Some madman like an Elon Musk will buy it and then try to revive it. That's something billionaires tend to do. Look at
the Kushners.
Bezos with the Washington Post, Dr. Pat with the LA Times. The
Kushners bought what was it? What magazine? One of the younger Kushner brother, he bought.
New York Observer was owned by Jared. So there's lots of examples of that. Something like that'll happen. Or it'll just putter along. And it'll be in someone's portfolio. It's just going to be worth less and less, I don't think CNN's going to go completely under, because it still has a place in the firmament.
I don't know. I think their ratings have been in the tank. I mean,
they have been.
CNN and years. MSNBC, it's been steadily on the decline, but even at the height of like the election cycle, their viewership was like, I don't know, almost half of what it was, let's say 15 years ago, right? And a lot of that has to do with the advent of streaming and the advent of all, like Joe Rogan popularizing podcasting and just people's tastes have changed. And you know what, Ted? In the last 15 years, I think more than ever, people have seen that legacy media, mainstream media, they do not have honesty and the viewer's best interest at heart. It is corporate backed, and the message that you're receiving is going to be beneficial to whoever is funding their paycheck. And I think viewers more than ever understand that now, because now streaming is now up to like in the high 40s. It's almost 50% of all visual consumer. Like, this is how they take it now. It's almost half.
That's not a political decision. It's a portability and convenience issue. People like streaming because it's like, you know, you can have it on your phone, your iPad, and it's anytime you want. I mean, that's it. Full stop, right? I mean, basically, it's a TiVo world now everywhere.
Yeah.
Why would you sit around and wait for, you know, the 6:30 news when, you know, it's available anytime?
But CNN they tried to go the streaming route, but then they made the stupid mistake of saying, we're going to charge you extra for this fucking streaming app that nobody wanted, that nobody asked for. But I think it failed, Ted. If there was a market for CNN, people would have paid the extra, you know, $10 or whatever it was if they believed in the content.
Everything is about execution, right? Always.
They don't, but
so
people don't believe in it.
If you have CNN could be revived, it could be turned into something great. I mean, look at some really stupid aspects of CNN. They have those news panels, like when there's a debate or something, where it's like, okay, now you have 9 panelists. Okay, no one wants 9 panelists. I don't care how great they are. It's confusing. And not to mention, CNN is paying for all those people, which means they're passing the cost on for like Van Jones onto you.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's dumb. It's like, it's just like, it seems CNN is bloated. What happened here is that they were first. It's sort of like how JetBlue was the first airline to say, you know, hey, maybe you don't have to eat your knees. Maybe you don't have to be in first class to have a chair that's a decent size and that that's a fairly comfortable and has a TV in front of you. And then everybody copied CNN. Everyone copied JetBlue, and then eventually, then JetBlue though didn't keep up. They didn't leapfrog over. Now all of JetBlue's planes, then the experience feels a little tired and a little sad. And it's like, that's what it is. It's like, if you innovate and everyone follows you, you've got to keep innovating and be ahead. Otherwise, your competition's going to eat your lunch. That's what happened to CNN. I mean, Fox ate CNN's lunch because Fox figured out infotainment. It's like, it's about making the news entertaining. And Fox is entertaining. CNN is boring. It's not quite as boring as MSNBC.
And let's be honest,
MSNBC is insanely tedious. And by the way, this is not even about the politics. It's tedious. Like if you look at MSNBC,
it's the business model.
There's a lot of talking heads with no visuals, for example. And it's like, it's television. Yeah. It's a visual medium. Right.
Well, because it's a visual medium, the Murdochs really figured out, and this is going to blow your mind, Ted, that people like looking at hot chicks with short skirts.
Yes.
Nice legs on TV, Ted. I know, groundbreaking. I feel like
whoever comes up with upskirt news is going to make a fortune.
So it's kind of like the uncanny valley, right? Like so Fox figured out that news consumers, while they like hearing the news, they also like getting it from a pretty lady with nice legs, or sometimes a busty lady, but still kind of in a tailored suit or whatever. So other people try to capitalize on that and go the other way. Again, the advent of streaming with naked news. Remember that? Naked news came out.
Yeah. Yeah. Whatever happened there?
It failed because that's the uncanny valley, is that
it goes too far.
It goes too far. Viewers don't want only talking heads. Nobody only wants to look at Michael Steele's big shiny head, the big chrome dome, and like 10 other talking heads.
After the naked news, I thought you were going to say his big shiny something else.
No, his big shiny chrome dome. Nobody wants to look at only Michael Steele's shiny head with no visuals.
Yeah.
And on the
and
other
by the
end,
way, Michael Steele is an excellent, analyst. I mean, really, truly,
you're going to say he's an excellent looking man.
Well, that too, and he's one of the
He
better.
actually isn't
He's a
not
very
a
good looking
guy,
man,
I have to
and
say.
he's really one of the better personalities that MSNBC has. But they just don't really know how to package. They don't know how to package what they have at all.
Nobody wants to look at that, or like Jen Psaki, right? Or Jake Tapper. People are sick of Jake Tapper, especially with his stupid book that's out that I don't know. I mean, you bought.
Oh my God, Manila, you are so wrong about that book. That book. I mean, okay. No, I mean, I resent the fact that it's $26.
Oh my God!
Because it's a. I mean, I'm sure it'll be out in paperback after. It doesn't matter. It's essential reading for all Democrats should be like kidnapped by ICE and at gunpoint forced to read that book. And it should have been sold for like $12.95 in trade paperback as a public service, because I'm still hearing from Democrats, oh, like Joe got shanghaied. It wasn't fair. He wasn't really senile. No, he was really senile.
Why.
And the Tapper book has all the receipts, and there's no denying that it's all true. And like, honestly, like, okay, it's nitpicking to say Jake Tapper, like, he should have said something for 4 years. Yeah, he should have said something for 4 years. But the point is, that's not here. But that's not the point, right? I mean, actually, I kind of know why he couldn't. I'm sure if he wanted to, CNN wouldn't have allowed him to.
Of course.
And
not.
Also, he's not an analyst. He's a host, right?
Well,
so he's not paid to do analysis.
News.
Well, he is, right? I mean, and
he's not.
And he said nobody would nobody would talk to him at all, on or off the record, about Biden until after the election. So how is he supposed to talk? How is he supposed to, as a journalist?
The point is, he rebuked anybody on Trump's side.
Okay, that was bad.
Any Republican.
That was bad.
That anybody that wasn't licking Joe Biden's boots, he rebuked.
Yeah, but this is like picking on Jesus because he got spicy with money changers. I mean, it's like, the point is that, like, he then wrote the book about documenting the biggest political scandal in U.S. history, and you're picking on him for the fact that he was like nasty to some Republicans sometimes. I mean, the point is, like, big picture, Manila. Big picture is that book is a public service. It's a patriotic service, and I'm sure all his Democratic friends are ghosting him now as a result. I mean, I
find it ridiculous.
Did you read the book? Read the book. And read the book and then talk to me.
I don't want to give him. I wouldn't give him more than $2.
Get it from the library
for it.
Then don't get it. By the way, you're a media person. You can get it for free from the publisher, just the way I did. Just call the press office.
I'm just so annoyed by him and his, like, there's no mea culpa here. He's trying to present himself as some victim of the DNC.
Well,
when it's like, no,
he's not. He's not trying to present himself as a victim.
No, he's going on media. He's been on Megan, what's her face's, Megyn Kelly's show, for example, trying to present himself like a victim of the DNC. Like, how was I to know? But he skirts around the idea of just plain old saying, I fucked up. I'm sorry. If he actually believed what all the bullshit that he was saying the last 4 years, then say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. This is what I believed. And I'm sorry, I was wrong. But he can't say that because he knows he didn't believe it. He was disingenuous and lied to Americans' faces for 4 years about Joe Biden's condition.
He was all true, but he was hardly the worst. Okay. And unlike the other ones, like, say, Jen Psaki or Karine Jean-Pierre, or those people, they literally, or the worst one of them all, my old buddy, hi, Rachel, all those people, they're the worst. They're the absolute worst. And they didn't write a book. At least he wrote a book that required him to put his dick out on the table and like take some chances. I mean, I give props there. I just think he's not perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. I mean, he did yeoman's work with that book. I'm telling you, You got to read it. You got to read it.
Maybe I'm not at the point of
not to mention you should know what's in it anyway. Really,
forgiving Jake Tapper or CNN for just. I mean, these are the people that danced on my grave.
It's our duty to read shit like this.
They danced on our grave when RT and Sputnik went under. Well, we didn't go under. We got shut down. And they danced on our grave. So a part of me just absolutely refuses to give a freaking penny to go to Jake Tapper's.
I just told you how you don't have to pay him a penny.
I know.
You're an email away from knowledge. One email away.
Maybe I might. I don't know. I'm not there yet.
Why not?
I'm still bitter and angry because I don't like him.
Well, I don't like. Are you kidding? I don't like anyone in the mainstream media. I don't like any mainstream politician. To me, Bernie Sanders is way too far to my right. I mean, are you kidding? I don't relate to anyone in if I waited to read shit by people who I liked, I just moved to France. This to me, this country is. I have nothing in common with the politics of this country. I don't connect to it at all.
I want to be the bigger person and not dance on their graves when a few years from now, after this split, this Warner split.
You're going to be doing all the dances. You'll be doing all 16 dances. You'll be doing the foxtrot, the rumba.
Cutting a rug.
You're going to be doing the pogo, all
the
of
Running
the
Man. Maybe
all of them. The moonwalk. I want to see you do the moonwalk. That'll be fun.
I'm saying I want to be the bigger person. I'm not saying I'm capable
You won't
of it.
Be.
I'm saying I want to be, but eventually.
So be the bigger person and read the book. Read the book.
When this gets there, I'm not the bigger person on that. But when people lose their jobs, because I've been through this twice in just as many years, it's a shitty thing because there's so many good people that work at these companies that are bound to go under now that the split is. I mean, this is coming in 2026. So let's just highlight that you've got another year, maybe. And then we'll see. Ted, I don't know why. If they want their jobs,
always take longer than you think.
Keep jobs. But why are you paying Jake Tapper $20 million a year?
Well,
why?
Okay, well, that's okay. So that's a great question, right? I mean, let's say if I were brought into CNN, I'd start firing all of those people just to save the money, right?
If you don't want to fire them, fine. Just tell them, look, Tapper, I know you're making $20 million.
You can stay for $200,000 a year. Right.
You can stay. You can have a good living wage. We'll be kind and give you $500,000 a year.
Sure. No.
$500 million is.
I agree with you because look, it's a sinking ship, and maybe move out of that fancy office in Atlanta and move somewhere into a rural area where it's cheaper. No, for sure, there's a lot of ways to save money. I felt the same way. I felt the same way about print media. It's kind of like for a long time I was always like, well, why do you have those fancy offices downtown? Why don't you now? Most reporters work at home. Why don't you just have a tiny little office just for meetings and just have that in the middle of nowhere, enough room for 20 desks and have everyone else work from home or from Starbucks or whatever.
Bloat.
Yeah, there's a lot of bloat. A lot of bloat.
They can cut
and in newspapers and in TV, there's a lot of middle managers nobody knows what they do.
Crew fired. You know what I mean? I don't want to see the cameramen that have been there 25 years that are close to retirement.
Plus, they need them.
I don't want to see them fired.
They perform in essential service.
I don't want to see those people, because I have friends and stuff that work there. I don't want to see those people fired, but there's a clear-cut way to save tens of millions of dollars annually easily. Stop paying these talking heads that are wrong, that are delivering wrong information to people. Cut their paycheck by 95%.
They'll quit. And that's fine because unless they have a major coke habit, they have savings.
Plenty of talent floating around out there.
That's true.
Just saying.
That's true.
But the problem is the we's that we're pointing to, we're not willing to lie.
Never mind naked news. How about cat news? Cat news would be very successful. With AI, you could have cat news.
Well, that's true. Look.
I would watch that every day. All different cats.
Ted, you should do that. You should do that. Anyway, we have an ad we have to get to, a word from our own sponsor, because we're trying to hustle a buck.
All right,
so
put it
here we are.
Do we have
I think
it?
Robbie's already dropped it somewhere.
Mr. Robbie, there it is. Okay, here we go. This sponsorship is from Rumble, one that's incredibly important to the survival of the company. When Rumble first started in 2013, they built the platform for the small creator. They didn't censor or have biases. They were fair and treated all creators equally. No one thought platforms would censor political conversation or censor opinions on COVID, but they did. Facebook admitted they fell to pressure from the Biden-Harris administration. Rumble did not. They held the line. They're attacked daily for giving us a voice to talk to you. They're attacked in corporate media. They're attacked by governments like France. They're attacked from brand advertisers who refuse to work with them. Corporate America is fighting to remove speech. Rumble is fighting to keep it. Rumble won't survive with brand advertisers. They don't get much of it. Watching our show on Rumble is the most they can ask from you, but if you really believe in this fight and you have the means, one major way you can help Rumble survive is by joining Rumble Premium. Join the community that believes in the First Amendment and believes in our human right to free speech. Rumble is offering $10 off with the promo code STUDIO when you purchase an annual subscription. Go to rumble.com/premium. Use the promo code STUDIO. Like I said, if you have the means and believe in the cause, now's the time to join Rumble Premium. If you don't have the means, we're just happy if you watch us on Rumble. Okay, so we should move on because we have more to talk about, and we're running a little bit late here. German contractors are looking for more infrastructure work, may find it coming from an unexpected source: war bunkers. The president of Germany's Federal Agency for Civil Protection and Disaster Relief, Ralph Teisler, told the German newspaper Süddeutsche Zeitung last week that his agency will quickly create 1 million shelter spaces. He says it's going to need 10 billion euros over the next 4 years and 30 billion more in the following 10 years to build them.
Ooh.
For a long time, there was a widespread belief in Germany that war was not a scenario that we needed to be prepared for. Well, that's before we started using drugs. That has changed. We are concerned about the risk of a major war of aggression in Europe, he told the newspaper. Germany has just 580 bunkers now, many of them not operational, down from 2,000 during the Cold War. Now, only 5% of the German population could find shelter in the event of an attack by alien spiders, according to Süddeutsche Zeitung. Teisler said that his agency will upgrade metro stations, tunnels, underground garages, and basements of public buildings. New bunker systems with very high protection requirements cost a lot of money and time, he said, happily. His agency will be counting on a share of the 500 billion euro emergency infrastructure fund the Bundestag approved in March.
What? Okay, so obviously this is Germany's way of saying the Russians are coming.
Yeah.
They're coming.
Although when I study my history, usually from the Russian point of view, it's the Germans are coming. But, you know.
Yeah, I mean, historically,
that's how that goes. Yeah.
That's kind of been the case. But for me, I view this as more evidence that globally, the problem is war is a racket. And that even though the Russians are not coming, the groundwork has been laid since 2022, even before that, actually, before Russia's special military operation even began. The German media had been saying for, I don't know, at least 5 years before that, just sprinkling here and there where they could, telling their population and then the broader European Union, telling the Euros that, you know, those pesky Ruskies, they keep collecting along the border with Ukraine, and that they really, that Vladimir Putin, he really wants to rebuild the USSR and maybe take this all the way back to like the Soviet Empire from like the 1600s. Like this is really, and they would sprinkle that in for years, right? So you lay the groundwork, right? So this is how the racket starts. You just sprinkle in a little bit of planting the seed, a little bit. So now that the war is in operation and we're seeing it daily, even though Americans are growing tired of it, the Europeans are now, because it's, you know, in their territory, they're like, oh my God, the Russians are coming. And so this company is like, perfect. We'll build you bunkers. We will renovate. It's going to be like a Fixer Upper with oh gosh, what's the couple Chip and Joanna Gaines? They're going to go in there and
Yeah.
rebuild all the bunkers in these old dead bunkers in Germany for like 500 billion euros. Like what? But we will start with only 10 billion euros. We will do for you.
So literally, it's about converting 500 billion euros into holes in the ground.
Yeah. So, while I was doing some research for this, Ted, I fell into this video rabbit hole of what bunkers look like. And one guy, I found a video of a guy that built his own homemade bunker. I don't know if I would stay in there if I were his wife. He's like, I made one for $5,000.
Ooh, scary.
Yeah, I'm not sure I would put my family in. I don't know. I'm.
It depends on how you feel about your family.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Not everyone loves their family, you know.
Mass coffin, right? Like, but billionaires really are building these things. This is a thing. This is like, I'm talking about Americans though, but like, I feel like this is kind of what the German builder is. You know, it's a racket. He's trying to get a piece of the pie, man. It's already, the money has already been budgeted and allocated, right? So the dude is he's got a hustle, man. He's found his hustle, and he's like, well, given that the Russians are coming, how about I protect my fellow German brethren and build millions of bunkers to protect millions of Germans? Then the race shall survive.
It's very strange. I mean, first of all, where's this threat supposedly coming from, right? So
it's Russia.
But they're not saying it. To believe in this, right? One of two things is going to happen, right? Russia is either going to nuke Germany, in which case none of these holes in the ground is going to help, or they're going to come over by land, like an old-fashioned World War II land invasion. And that means they're going to have to pass through Poland and all these other, Eastern European countries on the way and take on NATO, because those are all NATO countries. And that's going to cause World War III. And so by the time the Russian troops arrive in Germany and everyone's hiding in their holes, it's all over, because the whole continent is irradiated. I mean, this is just sort of like, it's one of those things. I always game things out like, okay, well, let's just say worst case scenario happens. Well, the worst case scenario doesn't help you in your worst case scenario. This is just literally like, even if everything plays out the way you're concerned about, it's a waste of money. So it's psychological. We still, when I came to college in New York in 1981, one of my first journalism article ever is an article I wrote in 1981 for the Columbia Daily Spectator, the student newspaper. And it was about the fallout shelters that were still under Columbia University from the Cold War. Now, bear in mind, the Cold War, basically those fallout shelters went, defunct basically around the Kennedy administration. So it had only been about 20 years. There's steam tunnels that connect all the buildings under Columbia University. Steam tunnels. Yeah. So basically they're tunnels, like you can use them to deliver stuff, but there's pipes that deliver steam from one building to another. The campus was built at the turn of the last century, right? Like around 1900. And so that's the technology. And so basically I snuck in. It wasn't hard to get in. You just took the elevator down to the cellar, borrowed the key from a friendly custodian, who could be bribed perhaps with some liquor or some weed, maybe, just saying. And then you got down there and then just basically walked around. And there were dehydrated water biscuits. There were these cans of civil defense cans that were like sort of olive green, that they were supposed to be filled with water right before you were supposed to know that the atomic attack was coming long enough to fill it with water and drag this heavy thing that weighed hundreds of pounds down into the tunnel. You drink the water after the blast, and then you could use, there were toilet seats that went on top of it, and you would fill it with your pee and your poo. And presumably the crisis would have passed after that. You would subsist on water biscuits. There were boxes of civil defense tampons and sanitary napkins down there. It was a pretty bleak existence down there in the steam tunnels. And that's assuming here in Manhattan that you would survive the direct hit from the Soviet ICBM, right? and still, you walk all over New York City, and there's still these old, fallout shelter signs with the radiation symbol on them outside of buildings, all over my neighborhood. I stole one years ago. I have it somewhere in a box. And like the point is they're everywhere. And like most of them, what they meant by fallout shelter was the laundry room. Like in the event of atomic attack, you go to the laundry room and hang out next to with the lint. It's ridiculous. This is paranoia. It's like making people think they can do, making people think that they can do something about something that they can't really do anything about.
Right. So that is my whole point of the German bunkers, is that this is just another company that's looking to exploit the fear that has been.
It's a money extraction machine. That's all it is.
Now, this particular video is alleging that there are the video that we saw at the top, I mean, not at the top, but going down the stairs just a moment ago. This guy says these AT&T bunkers were spaced out every 20 miles, spanning from California to Washington, D.C. I don't know exactly. I mean,
yeah, but I think those, if I'm not mistaken, I've heard about this. And I think if it's the same thing I'm thinking about, these bunkers were in order to keep the telecommunication system going, so that the switching stations and everything, the nodes for the phone system were all underground, right, and protected and could be accessed after the atomic apocalypse.
So that's what this guy is showing in his video, is that the AT&T bunkers aren't necessarily human survival bunkers, but that I guess many of these are now abandoned, and that rich people, multimillionaires and billionaires, are buying them because they are available all the way across the country, and they're already built in. It says this bunker was made to withstand a 10 kiloton what? Nuclear blast?
That's cool though. That door is awesome.
It's like this bunker was made to withstand a 10 kiloton nuclear blast from a half mile away. So it could be that close. So that door, I mean, it's got to be lead, I imagine. But he's saying that in this video is that a lot of billionaires have actually purchased it. And look, they've kitted them out like this. So I don't know.
It looks amazing.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if the Germans are doing this.
Well, there's no windows.
Well, they might have this disco light. That's
yeah.
The bar disco light.
This is like the hatch in the TV show Lost.
I have been to several German nightclubs, and they do like these tacky, flashing disco lights, even well into the 2010s. This bunker can be purchased today for $1.5 million.
Who wouldn't want that? Well, you can buy one from the Germans. All right, we have one more thing to do, and then we'll be on our way here. All right, when Iran,
this is the one I'm angry about, Ted.
I know you are. When Iran banned dog walking in 2019, few dog owners were worried about the order, but after years of lax enforcement, officials are now pledging to crack down. Prosecutors in at least 20 cities are citing public health and threats to public safety in announcing the heightened enforcement, which includes crackdowns on walking dogs and driving with dogs. No word about letting your dog drive the car. Dog walking is a clear crime. Mohammed Hussein Durudi, prosecutor in Mashhad, which is in northeastern Iran, told reporters on Monday as he announced the city's plan, according to state-owned media IRNA. Iran's government has long seen pet dogs as a sign of Western cultural influence, and as much of the opposition to dogs actually comes from Muslim religious beliefs, dogs are considered to be najis, or impure, in Islam. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, the supreme leader, had issued a fatwa, or religious order, explaining the order. A dog's saliva or hair will render anything that touches, like a person, clothing, or a surface impure. True. Prayer is invalid with the presence of dog hair, his fatwa said. Also true. I would like to point out that Thomas Jefferson,
Larry David,
the most important person in our country, is history. He invented America, basically. Thomas Jefferson once proposed that all dogs be killed on the grounds that they eat their own feces. Also true.
What? No!
Yes. Some Iranian veterinarians and pet surgeons, like Dr. Damoun Ansari, are skeptical of the recent government moves. Each summer, new plans emerge to regulate citizens' morality or lifestyles. Dr. Ansari, who lives in Tehran, said, "This year, the focus is on dogs and dog walking. The popularity of pet ownership has surged in recent years," he said. "Pets, including dogs, have become integral to Iranian family culture, even in religious households," he said. "Whether officials approve or not, they cannot eliminate the millions of pets in Iran. But even if officials are not planning to take away all pets, no word on cats, which obviously are holy under Islam, they are certainly trying to restrict their presence in public spaces." Durudi, prosecutor in Mashhad, said enforcement had lapsed over the past 2 years, but now, the happy days are coming to an end. He said violators in Mashhad will first get a warning, and then they get a fine, and then their dogs could be confiscated and fed to cats if they failed to comply. Dog walking is considered a threat to health and considered a criminal behavior under the name of harassment of women and children, he said. Some in Iran share skepticism about dogs as pets, and while some tolerate guard dogs, they see the man's best friend thing as going a little too far. When the ban was announced 6 years ago, Hamidreza Teragi, a hardline politician, told the New York Times that increasing numbers of people were complaining to the cops about dogs. We are experiencing economic difficulties, but the dog lovers are spending billions of dollars each year for dog food, he said. We need that money for more important things like feeding cats.
No, that's not what he said. That is not the quote from...
But that's what he ought to have said. Anyway, it's understood. I'm just saying the silent part out loud. In Muslim countries, they don't really like dogs in most Muslim countries.
We need that money for more.
But they do like cats.
Things.
They do like cats.
So having lived in a Muslim country, right? So not only were little dogs popular and very large dogs, but very large creatures in Maybachs, right? Like jungle cats, tigers, panthers, cougars, you name them. You find them in Dubai.
That's true.
And very, very, I don't know. I didn't get a good close-up look, but I could have sworn that a dude was walking a fucking wolf. Like I would say
in Russia, that's wolf. Standard. There's I saw in St. Petersburg a middle-aged lady walking her pet wolf, like on a main shopping street.
Maybe I thought I was imagining things, or maybe it was like a husky mix. I don't know. But so to say that
there's a difference.
Muslim
you can
culture,
tell. You can really tell.
To say that maybe it was like an adolescent wolf. Maybe it was like an adolescent wolf. But my point is
haunches. Holy shit.
To say that having a pet dog and loving your fur baby or your furry little friend, to say that this is some sort of assault on your culture,
it's beyond that. Manila, look, a religious official who hangs out personally with God said that God told him that that invalidates dogs invalidate prayer. The dog's saliva makes prayer go away. So if you prayed and said, please give peace to the people of Palestine and make the Zionist entity go away, your prayer would have worked. But if your dog slurbles you, at any time around that time, then the Zionist entity gains additional strength and bombs Palestine even more.
Robbie wants to chime in on this dog talk.
Well, I think as the most religious person here, I think he'll obviously agree with the holy man in Mashhad, which is, by the way, a holy city in Iran. No, that's true. I've been there. It's like that's look, it's a religious authority. he knows God. God said, like, if you have dog spit on you, your prayers aren't going to work.
It's null and void.
Yeah, like basically it causes interference, like static on your. You get to have a lo-fi connection to God.
Horrible.
So I mean, nobody. I mean, that's science. We have to respect. We have to follow the science, Robbie.
No, so I'd be careful about what I say here. One, Allah is a really weak ass God. If it could be thwarted by dog spit, I'm just throwing it out there right now. I mean. Muslims, I don't know what the hell it is that you're worshiping, but if he's afraid of dogs, find yourself a new God. I recommend Jesus Christ, who died for your sins, who can bring you to heaven, who's coming back to set up a new earth. So Jesus is not afraid of dogs. Convert to Christianity.
You don't know that.
You think he fed?
You don't know that.
Number one. I 100%
for Christ was kind to dogs.
There's no word on whether. There's no word on Christ's interaction with dogs in Scripture.
Right. We don't know.
That's true, but he also never said, "Hey."
He rode on a donkey. He rode on a donkey, though, so we know that
he did. Yeah, he did, and I mean, he never prohibited owning dogs, and he also created dogs. But he never came out
in favor of it either, did he?
Well, he created them, so I think that's probably
Jesus
a pretty
didn't create them. His dad created them.
No, Jesus created all things. Read your Bible, Ted. Read your Bible.
God created all things.
Jesus is God.
I have really
so.
It's the Holy Trinity. I have a real problem with this new law in Iran. I don't usually interfere and get angry about laws, but I'm really annoyed about this one because it's pretty well known. I'm a dog lover. I like cats. I like all animals, especially the tasty ones with the big brown eyes that they bat at you. Yum. The big cows.
Yeah, but
I thought you were talking about your rolling Haitian style.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Dogs and cats.
No. But this law, like, come on, this is human nature. It is not Western influence. People for throughout history, we can go back to Neanderthal times.
It is Western. All kidding aside, it is Western influence. Of course, it is. Dogs are haram.
Always liked.
Dogs are haram in Islam. Dogs are considered filthy animals in Islam.
Well, that's what I said. I was afraid of dogs. So seriously, get yourself a new dog, a new god. So that's number one. Second,
get yourself a manlier god.
Second, it seems like Iran probably has bigger problems than dogs right now. I mean, Israel.
I can't.
Israel's starting to bomb them with the help of their big friends.
According to that one guy, the economy would be booming and there'd be no poverty in Iran if everyone wasn't squandering billions of dollars on dog food.
Stop spending money on those stupid dogs.
I guess maybe that's true, but I mean, also Iran does not really treat women very well. So maybe you could get yourself a new pet wife. With that dog food, like you could just go to a village, buy yourself, maybe a teenager, you can roll Muhammad style, maybe buy yourself a little girl and then you can marry her. I mean, hey, that's an option.
It wasn't U.S. sanctions that are interfering with the Iranian economy, Ted. It's it's not only that. It's that the local civilian population is spending billions of would-be dollars on
who knew that the Iranian dog food market was such a major sector of the consumer economy.
I didn't know.
Right?
And that they want them to spend money elsewhere.
Generally, I'm pretty anti-war, but I'll tell y'all right now, I would go full on Ted on this. I would petition the new Pope to call a new crusade, liberate Constantinople on the way, free Anatolia from the Turkish yoke. That way dogs can return to Anatolia and be safe. And then just march all the way to Tehran for the dogs. I would 100%. That is a war I would get behind.
I'm a fan of dogs.
As you know, Robbie, the Crusades, didn't really go that well. And they ended up killing the people they were trying to save.
Well,
in Constantinople, they killed the Christians because they were wearing funny hats.
Just damn Venetians.
Oh, no.
But I mean, just maybe you exclude the Italians. Well, I mean, Italians are terrible soldiers anyway. So I don't know. I guess you could use them to catch the bullets. Just put them in Operation Human Shield. Let them lead the charge. Kind of like how the Mongols would do with their slaves. They'd send the slaves up first. That way they'd catch the arrows. Use the Italians for that, I guess. I probably insulted like everybody. Right?
Yes, you did.
Yes,
I'm not honestly.
Your political career is probably over. You will not be.
I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if the Ayatollah literally one day just says all pet dogs are now illegal and there would be like a mass cull of your pets. That like
Yes,
I think
but
that would cause the next Iranian revolution.
But there could be a diplomatic arrangement with Haiti to sort of make this a win-win for both countries.
Listen, I would cheer ICE on even more if I found that they're eating more dogs than what they already are. I mean, 100%. I would be like Team ICE all the way. I would donate to ICE to start deporting the dog eaters.
So this would be, I'll tell you, I'm going to say it again. This would cause the next Iranian revolution is going after everybo's pups. That's going to do it.
It is so stupid,
this
though.
Is closer to, didn't the Chinese government also get really pissed off about dogs a few years ago? I seem to remember that, where the Chinese government was pissed off that Chinese people were dedicating significant personal resources to coddling their dogs. And it wasn't going quite this far, but they were kind of like contemplating, is there some way we can like shame Chinese people who are more shameable than most people into like de-dogging their lifestyles?
Really? No, I don't remember that story. But if it's true, shame on them too. War on them too.
No, on a positive note, now, if we are able to move to this apartment that we're looking at, we'll actually be able to get a dog. So maybe we can adopt an Iranian dog who's soon to be homeless, and bring him in as a refugee. So that way,
yes.
Now that's a question.
Them refugee status. Now you like refugees, huh?
If it's four-legged and has fur, yes. I have no problem with that. If you're two-legged and you're able to vocalize, get the hell out of my country.
Yeah, so listen, guys. So in some Chinese cities like Beijing and Hubei province, do not allow any household to have more than one dog. And large breeds are banned in some regions. Dogs must be leashed in public. Dogs must be registered at all times.
There's a crap ton of
dogs. Dogs have been confiscated and even beaten to death. In 2023, a dog was dragged from an apartment in Shanghai, and an elderly woman in Xi'an begged to keep her dog. During COVID, the authorities killed the dogs of quarantined owners because they thought the dogs could spread the virus.
Gotcha. I'm Team Taiwan. I'm Team Taiwan now.
That's it.
We're over this. It's just y'all heard it here. Donald Trump, go to war with China. Save the dogs.
Go to war with China. Go to war with Iran. Save the pooches.
That's it. So, hey, that's all it takes.
I don't know. I mean, look, here's this is, I think, provides a big entry for the cat market and the ferret market. Ferrets are an underutilized pet. They're great pets because if you have like a mouse or other critter problem in your apartment or house, they go into the wall, they find the nest, and they eat them in situ, and that's awesome.
In situ is what the doctors told me it's pronounced.
Is that really true?
Yes.
I feel like that's one of those words that pronounced correctly, it's wrong.
God,
look at those prayer interfering spittle producers.
Look at those stupid faces.
Look at those faces, all just like that. Those guys right there, they're not going to get to their prayers are on hold.
Listen, all dogs go to heaven. And speaking of dogs, Rumble just dropped us a new ad. You want me to read it since I'm here on the screen?
Oh, let's
go ahead.
Before we go out. Yes, might as well.
Ted's going to hate it because of my southern drawl. If you read too slow, still haven't tried 1775 coffee? Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped, only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold, dark roast that hits harder than a CNN fact check, the smooth medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin free, and mold free. Plus, you're also getting a gold spoon because freedom isn't scooped with plastic, a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee, and your mother-in-law's political opinions. My mother-in-law's coming next week, by the way, so pray for me. And a black 1775 tumbler that says, I don't take life advice or caffeine from a woke sea witch. $170 worth of coffee and gear, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble. Wonder if it's actually worth it. Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does. Start your day with coffee that actually backs what you believe. And just to let y'all know, I've had 1775 coffee. It's good stuff. I like it.
By the way, another word about dogs. During World War I, during the anti-German hysteria due to the the fact that we were at war with Germany in World War I, in Columbus, Ohio, which had a German town, hysterical anti-German mobs patrolled Germantown looking for German shepherds and killed them.
Oh.
Because people are stupid.
People are dumb.
Anyway, all right.
So that's going to do it for us. Let us know what you think.
And hey, you Iranian viewers, we know a lot of people watch the TMI show in Iran.
Sure.
We welcome our Iranian
the Ayatollah, I think.
I just want to remind you, cats, your dog alternative. And cats don't interfere with your prayer.
That's true. But one thing, just a really quick little side note, Ted, you'll appreciate this because you're a history student. The pigeon that delivered the message from the Liberty Brigade that was lost during World War I in the Ardennes is actually stuffed in the Smithsonian Institution. So you can see that pigeon.
Ew.
I think Ted's frozen. I think he has completely missed
Ted
all
did
that.
Freeze. Yeah. All right. So, that does it anyway. That's the end of the program anyway, as we take the walking tour of one of central Tehran's dog parks. That's what's on screen.
That's about to be banned.
I know.
So dumb.
Anyway, so dumb. Anyway, that does it for us. Ted's frozen. We'll leave him there. Make sure you guys hit the like button, the follow, the thumbs up, all of that good stuff to help us grow our little program. Ted is officially dropped off. Robbie is trans Ted for the moment. And save the doggos. Save the doggos. Save the doggos. Yes. All right, that does it for us. We'll be back mañana. Adios, amigos. Thanks for being here.
Y'all.
Bye, guys. Bye.